What's up, gamers, and welcome back for more WotC-20. Today's match is Feraligatr Bats versus Wigglytuff on Do the Wave. The Feraligatr deck in question is going to be Major Tsunami Feraligatr from Expedition, so might be calling it Tsunami Bats. It's the first time I'm seeing this deck played. We were discussing it in the WotC-20 Discord as a potential build to synergize with Feraligatr. So starting off here, looks like Wigglytuff gets the first turn and immediately drops a fan club, pulling out Cleffa and Jigglypuff. With Murkrow in the active slot, it is a free retreater. We'll also keep an eye on that Murkrow for its mean look, but it will be able to free retreat out into Cleffa. And plenty of energy in hand. It looks like Recycle, Boost, Rainbow, and Darkness. So Recycle being the optimal choice for Cleffa if some Eek is going to get going here. Could clutch up, but it will be the Recycle to the Cleffa. Could keep hand just for that Wigglytuff Evo, but that's really just a good backup plan if the Eek fails here on the baby flip. So an Eek attempt is made. And it is a heads, so that will be a successful Eek. We'll see if that Tuff is easy enough to draw next time. And it is now turn one for Feraligatr. You see an Oak off the top. You can see a Fuji in hand, pretty interesting. There'll be a lot of cards we're probably not familiar with on my end, at least for this build, since it's the first time seeing it. That Totodile is also E-Reader. That is an Expedition Totodile, so for 50 HP it does have 2 attacks. Colorless Pip is Paralyzing Gaze. Flip a coin. If heads, the defending is paralyzed. Otherwise, it's a Water Pip and a Colorless Pip for Bite for 20. Looks like Water Energy is going to be attached to Cleffa. And Eek attempted. It is not going to go through that baby rule, though, so a fresh 7 for Tuff. No successful Eek for Feraligatr. And a second Jigglypuff onto the bench, gradually powering up that Do the Wave attack. And there's a Trader. What else we got? We're going to see that Trader shuffle in another Murkrow, some Japanese Murkrow. You can see there's a Furret in the deck, and out comes Sentret, so very common to see with Tuff to go fetch those DCEs, to go fetch those boost energies, very strong. And while Trader is resolving, there is one more bench slot available. There is a Pichu in hand. So here you can get the DCE down. Plenty of energy, lots of energy in this Tuff hand right now. And a Rainbow will attach to Murkrow. Some mean look could be online here. Given the hand being mostly energy and no Tuff in sight, I would rather see the Eek, but it looks like we're going to go for a mean look. And mean look is good, so Cleffa is now stuck, but it can keep eking. So worth noting, if you're unfamiliar with Expedition Feraligatr, Major Tsunami reads once per turn before you attack. If Feraligatr is your active, and if your opponent has any bench Pokemon, your opponent switches, and then you do the same. So Croconaw now comes down with a DCE. That is also an E-Reader from Expedition Croconaw. And Cleffa's just going to try to Eek, so Major Tsunami can't get Cleffa out of that active position because Feraligatr would have to be active, but at least Eek is free now. And a Recycle Energy for Murkrow. Now it's going to put 20 with Feint Attack onto that Croconaw. So this Croconaw has 80 HP. There is one other 80 HP Croconaw available in Neogenesis, but this one only has a retreat cost of 1, so if you value low retreat costs and high HP, this Expedition Croconaw is the way to go. And just having 2 usable attacks, tackle for 20 with DCE, and then for 3 colorless takedown, deal 40, take 10, not bad at all. Alright, off the top looked like a fan club for Feraligatr here. And it will be fan club, so planning ahead here, if you can get a Gust out Well, let's see. We got a Town V, a Pichu, a DCE in hand. So if you're tough and you're planning ahead, if you have a way to Oak or Copycat or refresh your hand, you can get the DCE on the Jigglypuff, maybe evolve, maybe fill your bench, maybe turn this into a Gust KO on the Crocodile instead of the much slower progress of pinging it down with Murkrow. Always difficult playing against a list you haven't seen before. Fan Club pulling out 2 Zubats. This is a Bats list, so Dark Golbat and Dark Crobat will make their debut soon here, but that is a Fossil Zubat paired with a Rocket Zubat. I love the art on the Rocket Zubat. If you really don't care about the attacks and you just want something that can swing for 10 damage off a single colorless pip, you could go with the what is it, Neogenesis? No. Neo Revelation Zubat, which is probably the best one, but if you don't use Rainbow or Grass Energy, I think the Rocket Zubat has the better art. So another Eek, another Totodile to the bench, and as we were talking about before, that DCE now attaching the Jigglypuff. Feint Attack now getting that Crocodile up to 40. 40 more will knock it out. But a top 7 coming for Alligator here. And with Bats down, you could get that Murkrow knocked out if you start targeting it with Dark Golbat and Crobat. Now getting the Furret off the top for Wigglytuff when you are not able to really refresh your hand does help with pulling out energy at least, but as we know, the hand is already full of energy in that one Pichu. Good Pichu to keep in your hand now that you know it's a Bats list. And another Fan Club. This will be a Fan Club for 1 though. We'll see if there's another supporting line in this deck. Bats is usually a hefty Mon package, hard to splash Bats with a stage 2 and then still have more slots. Maybe there's a utility basic, another baby. You can see an Igglybuff there. Igglybuff probably won't matter in this matchup. Nothing on Tuff's bench that you would really want to shut off. Is that a Fan Club for 0? Alright, something must be prized. I think we just saw Fan Club for 0. Dark Golbat coming down. Instead of targeting that Murkrow, it pings 10 onto the Jigglypuff and gusts it in. Gust will break the Mean Look lock here. And some good planning ahead. There's an Oak, pitching a DCE and a Breeder. There's a Dark Crobat, a Copycat, Comp Search. So lots of gas coming into the hand right now. 4 for Alligator, but as we were saying before, 10 damage to the Jigglypuff is smart because for Alligator deals 70 with Rending Jaws. But if there are no damage counters on the defending Pokemon, the base power of Rending Jaws is only 40, so perfect math. Wigglytuff has 80 HP with 10 on it. Rending Jaws will be able to knock this one out if it were to evolve. Now we see a trader throwing a Dark Golbat in. Dark Crobat, sorry. Probably going to get a Golbat. And adding 10 to the other Jigglypuff. So setting both of these Puffs up for a potential single shot knockout from Alligator down the line. And a Comp Search, pitching what I assume is a Comp Search and a Water Energy, leaving that Copycat. Won't be the biggest Copycat if it comes down this turn. I don't think we've seen support for turn yet. Goldberry gets pulled out with Computer Search, so that'll heal up the Alligator perfectly. Now that Alligator is down as well, we could see some major tsunamiing happen. And it looks like that's exactly what we'll see, so Major Tsunami. Once again, if Feraligatr is active once per turn, if the opponent has a bench, they switch and then you switch. The reason we discussed in Discord about pairing this with bats is to take advantage of that free retreating. So figuring out who to throw up here, it will be Cleffa. I actually read that wrong. It was not coming up to Major Tsunami, it was coming in to take a KO. Yep, yes it was. Okay, so Pichu comes down instead as a replacement, prizing being now 5 to 6. My bad. For it will Scavenger Hunt to pull out a Recycle Energy. Recycle onto Pichu and a Fan Club. So Pichu can do a lot of damage here. Those Dark Golbats do not have a lot of health. They only have 50. Crobat itself only has 70. I don't know if there is a Rocket Hideout Stadium in this Feraligatr deck. I know it was talked about, but I don't know if it made the cut. So Pichu could hit the Feraligatr, also hit the Golbats pretty hard. Oof, and Wigglytuff's Eek was just responded to by that copycat we were talking about earlier. It was held on the small hand. Eek getting off successfully makes copycat well timed here. And now I wouldn't be surprised if we see Major Tsunami. Kind of hard to baby stall against this Feraligatr, and it has a massive 120 HP. That is best in format, tied with other big hitters like Chansey. There's our first Dark Crobat, 2 Dark Crobats, immediately knocking Pichu out. Recycle will come back to hand at least, but that is a prize mid-turn. Prizing now, I believe, 4 to 6. Immediately Hyper Devos the Crobat. And now Tsunami is going to have both sides switch. So keep in mind with Hyper Devolution Spray, you cannot evolve a Pokemon the turn you devolve it, but you can evolve and then devolve. So now you know that there is a Crobat in the hand that'll likely come back. Throws up a Jigglypuff. That is probably just toast with that 10 damage ping on it. And Rending Jaws will take the KO for 70 swing. Tsunami doing what it's supposed to do. Looking pretty smooth here. ER comes out, takes off that DCE. Now if you're tough, you got to start thinking about how you can build board back up. Definitely a difficult matchup since the bats set up Feraligatr to one-hit KO any of the Wigglytuffs. There is a Goldberry in hand, so there's some healing offered in this deck, but not enough to really skirt around a bat's ping into Rending Jaws. See a trader for what? And it will be for tough. You could come in get some boosting going into this Feraligatr. At least do the wave if it can get 60 each turn. It's a 2-shot on Feraligatr, so that's a big deal. But you know the opponent can respond with Dark Crobat into Rending Jaws, so that surprise bite, nothing is safe from it, bench or active. I think that was a gust. That's the only... Missed the gust coming down, but it pulls in a Golbat into Comp Surge, chucking that Goldberry, the math not being ideal for it, and a Recycle Energy, which will not come back to hand now. There's still an energy removal in the deck. And it will be boost onto Tough with another Goldberry into Elm, so that went well. You only got to hit 50 on the Golbat. So assumedly off of this Elm you find one more bench Pokemon. And that'll kind of lock up the Dark Crobat in hand. So good play, good gust. And it looks like the basics of choice here to come down will be one of 2 Murkrows or a Cleffa. I think that's a Town V again, might not be bad to fire it off. Murkrow number 2 comes down onto the board. And if there's no bats to ping this Tough, the Goldberry math actually works out very well with Rending Jaws as it gets reduced to 40. So that was a good turn for Tough. First prize. Picks up a Rainbow Energy off that prize. Only problem is that boost goes to the bin, so the only energy on board for Tough is, looks like that initial Murkrow with a Darkness Energy, I think. Looks like it's stacked. And Cleffa with Recycle. Now a Goldberry and a Water Energy come down onto Feraligatr. You don't love to see the Goldberry if you're Tough. Tough also kind of stuck in active. There's a Comp Search and plenty of cards to pitch. Pitching a Sentret since Furret's already online, and a Cleffa. Curious if we'll see an energy pulled out here, or if that'll be saved for a scavenger hunt with Furret. I haven't seen any warp energy yet in this list. Nope, no warps. But there is a boost. Card not chosen yet from Comp Surge, thinking about it. Big turn here to set up momentum. Unsure what the hand size is for Feraligatr, but might even opt for ER at this point. Hand looks kind of big though, and you can see there's a Water Energy in hand. Not that Tough knows that. Alright, ER and Gust now being considered, it looks like. Over the boost, which I think is correct. You can always go and get the boost with Furret. No rush. And I think that was the Gust. It is. So now I gotta figure how many boosts are in this list. We've seen one, Furret can grab any more. But it's unclear if there's 2 or 3. There might only be the 1. So that'll definitely slow down Tuff's aggression here a little bit. Town V is going to grab Pichu, Sentret, 2 Jigglypuff and a Wigglytuff, I think is what I saw. I don't think there's any basic energy in this deck from what I saw. So Town V is purely Mon-centric here. Now, another Gust option here is to try to lock in that Dark Crobat. Instead, the Croconaw will get pulled up, and it does not have a Goldberry on it, so damage will stick. And as we were talking about before, the different Croconaw in this deck, this one is a retreat cost of 2. So if it's going to retreat, that's going to be -2. And Furret, Scavenger hunted a DCE. So no boost, no damage this turn, but it is asleep. So in between turns, we have to see if this, doesn't matter if it woke up. It was going to wake up from Evolution on Feraligatr anyway, which also has Major Tsunami. Retreat costs a 3 on Feraligatr. Doesn't look so bad when Major Tsunami can get it out of active. And Fuji hits the Dark Crobat, sending the whole pile back into the deck to be found later. That is a different language Fuji as well. Trader will now put Igglybuff into the deck for Gator, assumedly looking for the Bats line again. But that Zubat can't evolve yet, so Tuff is still going to be okay. Tsunami forcing the switch, though. And we'll see if a Baby Flip can keep things kind of balanced out here. Ooh, and a Gust will pull in Murkrow. With the 10 damage on it from earlier, Feraligatr doesn't even need Rending Jaws to be boosted. 40 or 70 will do the trick here for a knockout, and an Oak gets a fresh 7. Getting thin on deck, though. Oak into Town V now. So never mind what I said about the deck getting thin. Zubat and Dark Golbat are going to be 2 of the 5 from this Town V. Along with a Water Energy, and is that it for targets? 1 Cleffa. Only 4 targets. Feraligatr takes another knockout, recycled a hand, a couple of energy along with that Murkrow now in the bin. So now if you're tough, you have to keep in mind that you probably don't want that Zubat hanging around. The Gold Berry on Feraligatr definitely makes the math difficult. Could really use another tough line setup, or even just stalling by trying to lock with Murkrow would be a big deal. In deck peeps for Feraligatr, I don't think we've seen any warp. And why would you with Major Tsunami? But if you can Murkrow lock down Cleffa again, slow things down, you might be okay, or even just good to stall out. Recycle will go to tough. So it's ready to do the wave. Not a very big do the wave though. 3 energy in hand. 2 darkness and a rainbow. And it will be Eek from Cleffa here. Pretty big pile still, as far as the Wigglytuff deck goes. So plenty of gas left. Feraligatr ahead on prizes, definitely lower on deck count. Zubat number 2 comes down. And it's looking like Major Tsunami again, so... Two Cleffa found in the hand off of that Eek, which is going to be helpful for tough if there's going to be some baby stalling going on here. Major Tsunami doing a lot of work. Dark Golbat marking Murkrow. That'll be another knockout with Running Jaws. Can't see the prizing on camera, apologies for that. I think Feraligatr only needs 2 more prizes. And of course 5 for tough, bottom of the screen. 2 Cleffa come down, that's some baby stalling there. Of course, with a Dark Crobat and another Dark Golbat, that would at least knock off 1 of those Cleffa for free. No attacking needed.
I'm gonna play a talisman. I'm gonna catch weird up.
Alright, Murkrow is back, so do the wave is at a full 60. No good way to pull that Cleffa in right now.
I'm gonna attack you for 14. Yeah, 14 again. Like that. And then I scoop. Actually, don't you just want me if I scoop. I flipped over the cards, got out of the game with them. Go, go. Strong. Alright.
Ooh, there is another boost in the deck. It's in the hand. Alright, looks like Murkrow did not want to be committed to bench. Takes these backsies into Eek. Now the second Feraligatr, as turn passes back to Riptide. Second Feraligatr now has 3 water. Another Cleffa down onto the bench. So, full bench for Feraligatr, but not for tough. Major Tsunami pulling in a Cleffa. This is what we were talking about before, with maybe some Baby Stall. Also, what we were talking about before, Golbat into Crobat can knock out this Cleffa. And it looks like an Eek will be attempted, and it assumedly fails. Pichu back in the hand, Murkrow back in the hand. Murkrow committed to the bench again with the Darkness. I'd come on in and try to lock that Cleffa down. I don't think there are many outs for Alligator from a mean look here. Notably, Pichu would also be hitting 4 things for the opponent, but also hitting your own fur. It probably feels bad. Copycat comes down, a small Copycat, only 3 I believe. I don't think that deck check was illegal, but whatever. And off the top, there's an ER. And an Elm. That's a good draw for a small Copycat hand. ER hitting probably the DCE. Nope, there is no DCE. I lied. Hitting a Water Energy. So both for Alligator at 3 water attaches. And immediately going to drop Elm. No more turners for turn. Really hoping to see a mean look attempt here. It's risky, but if it works, 2 Dark Crobat can't take the Murkrow down.
Yeah, I mean,
Pretty big Elm hand there. See the Elekid tech, that's fun. And an item finder. So you know you can item finder for Gust if you're going to go the mean look route. I think at this point, with the attaches on Gator, the number of Tuffs set up, the math with the gold berries, you got to give up the dream of taking all 6 prizes, at least with Tuff. Full Tuff line in hand with a spare gold berry, so maybe that's being considered, but the bench is full. Tuff's gonna come in. Maybe. Thinking about it. Yep. All right. Good knockout. 2 prizes taken now for Tuff. Whoop. All right, Rounding Jaw's back online, but is there a Crobat available to get this to a perfect knockout, get around that gold berry, and cripple the hopes and dreams of Tuff here? No, just going to mark 40. All right, in between turns, Goldberry pops. It's going okay. There's another Goldberry in hand, we know that. Just got to make sure those Crobats don't show up. Finder discarding the whole Tuff line for an ER. So that will not end up being another Gust. It'll be an ER on the water. So now the opponent needs a Crobat and a Water attach next turn to one-shot this Tough around yet another Goldberry. Do the Wave dealing 60, but a Goldberry for Feraligator's self. We'll knock that down to 20. When an Wigglytuff gets drawn. There's the water. Is there a bat? We know Wigglytuff was top decked. Maybe there's a trader that can leverage that Wigglytuff. No, there is not. Tough hanging in with the swings. And remember, the Feraligator on bench not powered up enough to come in and necessarily take a revenge knockout. DCE comes down onto Furret on the bench. We'll see if Furret has to do some dirty work. Alright, do the wave for 60. Feraligator's at 80. Can't remember if Gator has 1 or 2 prizes left, but... Alright, Water Energy at least powers up the benched Gator. Rending Jaws will go for 40 on Tough. No Crobat to be found. Tough's going to get a knockout on one of the Gators. Tough to have a plan B, though, for the second Gator. For its Scavenger hunting for a Recycle Energy. Worth noting, Elekid does hit for weakness with Playful Punch, so could hit the Feraligators for 40 a pop if you can manage to baby stall. Again, tons of energy in hand for Tough. Remember too, there's a Dark Crobat in that deck somewhere that can just knock out the Cleffa with 10 damage on it. Knockout on board, planning ahead a little bit here it looks like. Still definitely behind on prizes. Little bin check from Feraligator as well. Double Recycle Attach, gonna retreat Tough. I think both of those should go to hand. Yep. Furret cannot get a knockout on Feraligator. Now it's 10 damage away. I don't know what was happening with those Recycle Energies. They should have both gone to hand. And I believe it was down to 1 prize because I think that Crobat's taking the final prize. So, good match. Fun new decks. Leave a comment, like, subscribe. Thank you for watching.